What's up, guys? It's Dan from Coin Bureau Trading, back at it again with another crypto market update. Today we've got Goatseus Maximus, Book of Meme, and Deepbook. These three cryptos have been pumping the most over the last 24 hours, and I'm sure you all want to know, why are they pumping? How high are they going to go? Are they going to crash? All that kind of stuff. If this is the kind of information you want, then be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ping that notification bell. I'm going to be bringing you basically reviews of the top of the three cryptos that have been pumping the most over the last 24 hours from Monday through Thursday. And trying to get these videos out to you as quickly as I can, so then that way you have information, that's still relevant by the time you see it. So yeah, guys, but with that being said, do keep in mind that nothing in these videos is financial advice. It's just my personal crypto trading strategy, my personal viewpoint on the markets. What you see on the charts and what I see on the charts might be different. And honestly, as I say, guys, if there is a difference, that's awesome. The more difference of opinion that we have, the better traders, the better investors we're all going to become. So with that being said, guys, let's start with the GOAT. Greatest of all time, the GOAT meme coin here. And of course, GOAT got a little bit of a boost here because it was listed on Bybit on perpetual futures. Besides the fact that, that can potentially move the price a little bit. Won't get into the details there. But I do think that the fact that Bybit listed it on the futures market, of course, probably leads to speculation that GOAT will be listing on Bybit in the spot market, which is currently not the case, at least not at the time of shooting. So yeah, guys, I do think that this is probably the thing that's taken GOAT a little bit higher. Of course, you'll remember that yesterday the catalyst was that A16Z, basically one of the partners in that VC firm, was talking about how the AI that they made was pumping GOAT and whatever. And anyway, you guys probably already know all the details there. So coming back to the charts here, guys, you might remember that yesterday we were looking at basically that the move had potentially played out, and you'll remember that I had warned that it's possible that if the bull flag, we would really draw it basically to this 40-cent point, that it's possible that GOAT could go as high as 80 cents, and that's basically what we've seen now. And I do think that the top is in. I know that's a pretty bold call to be making, especially now that Solana's pumping, Solana's ecosystem is kind of taking off, and you'll see that, of course, Book of Meme is also on Solana, and a lot of these Solana meme coins seem to be waking up. So to say that this is the top, it could maybe see a little bit of a pause, couple day correction, the same way that it did last week or a few days back. And then GOAT could easily keep moving higher. But for the time being, guys, at least for the next, day or two at the very least, I do think that this move is over. And here we have a little bit of a different of target math going on. And as you guys will see, you can basically draw these bull flags on all three of the cryptos actually that we'll be covering today. So this is a little bit different. So let me take it step by step, basically. So the flagpole bottom is basically zero, it's basically at the beginning, and 0.015 or whatever, which you might as well not even count as basically just a rounding error at that stage. So the flagpole bottom is basically zero. The flagpole top is roughly 40 cents. And of course, the length then of the flagpole is roughly 40 cents. And with these bull flags, guys, what you basically do is that once the flagpole top has been exceeded, once you can think of the flagpole top as being the resistance, which you'll see in the other charts, it'll be a little bit clearer. Then you basically add the flagpole length to the flagpole top. So in this case, you would add 40 cents to 40 cents. And of course, that gives you roughly 80 cents. And at the time of shooting, it's bumping up at around 79 cents and seeing lots of resistance there. Wouldn't surprise me at all if there's some, again, traders, trading bots, whatever, that can see this bull flag that's been forming, basically for the last 2 weeks, and they're taking profits around this level. And especially, guys, if you remember, all these key psychological levels, especially $1 being a big one. Okay, fine, maybe, let's say maybe it could keep rallying up to 85 cents, 90 cents, whatever. But as we approach that dollar mark, you're going to see a lot of people, they see that round $1 number, and think of how many people were accumulating GOAT at the beginning, assuming that it would eventually hit $1. So when it does hit that level, I think you're going to see a lot of selling in advance of that. And it's possible we're already seeing it now, especially since, those who know what they're doing, all these trading bots and the traders who know what they're doing, can see that this move has probably played out. But with that being said, guys, if you do want to trade GOAT, which to be honest, I would not necessarily recommend, especially at this stage, as it's super volatile, and I do think that the local top is in, at least for the next, let's say, 24 to 48 hours. Who knows? Maybe it'll see a little bit of a correction, then keep rallying higher. But with that being said, guys, you can now trade GOAT on Bybit, and of course, we do have a Bybit deal in the description, up to $60,000 in rewards. And that's going to help you guys out a lot, especially with all these other trading fee discounts that we have on other exchanges like Blowfin, OKX, and KuCoin. These trading fee discounts, honestly, especially on these other exchanges, guys, it will help you out a lot. As I've been saying, even if you're not trading in size, even if you're not a whale, if you're just trading frequently, a few $100s, a few $1,000s, those fees do add up. You lose a couple dollars here and there, you lose $5 here and there. and next thing you know, you're down $50, $100, and you're like, what the hell? I could have put that into a meme coin. I could have put that into Goat when it was, getting started, and I would be, I would have made it, by now. But anyway, a little bit of a Freudian slip, I guess you could say there, guys. Jokes aside, moving on now to Book of Meme, of course, as always, guys. Always wondering, why is this meme coin pumping? In this case, I do think that there's really nothing significant. I don't think that is driving Book of Meme's price. I do think that it's mainly just a lot of activity in Solana's meme coin ecosystem now that Sol is starting to pump. As to why Sol is pumping, I actually do think that this is related to potential speculation about FTX creditors being repaid and a lot of that money being put back into Solana's ecosystem. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But basically, it looks like FTX creditors will probably be getting repaid sometime in November, and it's possible that we're seeing some front running of that because there's people thinking, oh, like, look, there's going to be all these billions coming back. A lot of that money is going to flow into Solana's ecosystem, so you're seeing already capital move into Solana's ecosystem in anticipation of that. That's my hypothesis anyway. If you disagree, feel free to drop a comment down below. I'd love to know your thoughts on why Book of Meme is pumping, because to be honest, guys, when I'm scrolling through the feed here and trying to understand, what is there anything fundamental? Is there any reason, any kind of listing something? There isn't, okay? So if there's something that I'm missing that's super deep, dug somewhere in a Discord channel that you insist, even though it's deep somewhere in a Discord that no one except 10 people are accessing, and you're convinced that's the thing that's causing the pump, then by all means drop a comment for all of us to know. Anyways, guys, moving on here to Book of Meme. So again, I've drawn the chart here a little bit differently, just with the bull flag thesis in mind. And what's interesting, guys, is basically if you were, how do I explain this? If you were just to use the basic, as you guys know, for the last couple of weeks since I've started doing this trading channel, we've been being very simple in terms of levels of support and resistance and this type, and or I guess specifically starting point and resistance and calculating that. Funny enough, you could actually do basically the same calculation here, except that you're starting basically that your starting point of your starting point is the flagpole bottom of 0.006. Then your, in our previous, I guess, way of viewing the charts, the resistance would be somewhere around 0.01, and of course the difference there would be 0.004, which in this case that would be the length of the flagpole. And of course, if we see a break above that resistance of 0.01, I know there's a lot of zeros, guys, sorry about that, then the target would be 0.014, and this is the case regardless of whether you're drawing a bull flag or if you're just doing the standard basically starting point and resistance like we've been doing before. And I guess the reason why I'm mentioning this, guys, is because with all this trading stuff, you see all these fancy patterns or whatever, but they're fundamentally measuring the same thing. And using this, starting point and resistance, just because I'm switching to bull flags for this video doesn't mean I'm going to be doing it from now on. I'm just trying to showcase that, using this very basic support resistance, starting point resistance, whatever you want to call it, is basically going to show you the same stuff that you're seeing with these, you could say, slightly more advanced patterns like bull flags and whatever, which can be a little bit harder to spot, especially if you're new to trading. But I guess the point being, guys, is that with Book of Meme, it does look like it's going to head higher here, and we're looking at a potential upside of around 34% if it breaks above that 0.01, that 1 cent level. And if it gets rejected again, then it'll probably, probably continue chopping around that between 0.01 and let's say 0.095, or even slightly a little bit lower. You can see here it fell as low as 0.085. But I do think that with the momentum in Solana's ecosystem, like I'm saying, I think that the upside risk, and this is what I've been saying over the last, I think, week or longer, is that the upside, you have to just burn into your brain, the upside risks are higher. The risk of the crypto price going up is higher than the risk of the crypto price going down at this stage in the cycle. And this is true whether it's a meme coin or an altcoin or Bitcoin or whatever. So just burn that into your mind. When you're looking at the chart, always be aware of this is how low it could fall. It could get rejected and keep consolidating and chopping. But at this stage, guys, I think that the risk of an upside surprise is way higher. And at least that's my personal opinion. You can take that with a grain of salt, but this is what I personally believe. And in any case, guys, the Book of Meme trade here is looking pretty good with a risk-reward ratio of 4. That's pretty sizable, assuming you buy this bull flag thesis, which again, assuming we see this continued momentum in Solana's ecosystem, which assuming all the stuff about FTX repayments happening in the next couple of weeks, potentially starting, not it's going to take 60 days for those payments to go out. But if you buy that thesis, which I honestly do, then I think that the chances of Book of Meme getting up to 0.014 and getting this 34% return to the upside is pretty good. But just do keep in mind that the risk to the downside there is around 9%, and of course that downside risk is amplified if you're using leverage, obviously in exchange for having a greater upside. But anyways, guys, moving on now to Deepbook. So this is where things get even more interesting and also a little bit more complicated. So Deepbook is basically, so obviously you guys know that all these cryptos like Solana and Ethereum and basically any crypto that with smart contracts like Sui, Aptos, Avalanche, like you could there's dozens of them, right? And so all these cryptos they have on chain. Basically like liquidity, which you can think very simply is like basically all this crypto, all this like stable coins, whatever, all this amount of money that is on chain, mostly in DeFi, mostly doing like DeFi trading stuff. And so what's really interesting is to ensure that basically that how do I explain this? Basically to ensure that everything within that DeFi ecosystem is kind of like cohesive. Or I guess a very simple example is imagine you have two dexes. In this case, let's say on Sui, you have like one dex and another dex, and maybe the price of Sui is slightly different on both dexes. Then you would have like basically like a market maker or like some liquidity provider to basically come in and make sure that the price is just as exact as it can be across those two decentralized exchanges. I'm butchering the explanation here, guys, but basically what I'm trying to say is that Deepbook is basically this layer. It very simply is basically this layer that ensures that all of Sui's DeFi ecosystem is working well. Basically, it's ensuring that this DeFi ecosystem, that all the different protocols are like, in sync, of like, showing the same prices, all this type of stuff. And what's really fascinating is that a couple of days ago, I guess specifically 2 days ago, they basically Deepbook introduced zero trading fees. So basically any dexes, any exchanges on Sui, any protocols that are using Deepbook will have basically zero fees through that. I won't get into the technical details there, guys. As you can probably tell us, we're already getting a little bit down into the rabbit hole. But the point is that like if Sui goes up, or if Sui's DeFi activity continues going up, then chances are that Deepbook's token is also going to keep going up. And this is why you might have seen on Twitter/X a lot of people being super bullish on Deepbook, and that's basically because it's kind of like this, I guess for lack of a better term, it's like this infrastructure for Sui's entire DeFi ecosystem. And if this sounds familiar, like those of you who understand what I'm saying will probably say, hey, that reminds me a little bit of Serum. And for those who are unfamiliar, basically Serum was kind of like the liquidity layer, but on Solana from the last cycle. And Serum was basically, being managed by FTX, which of course, that was a total disaster for Solana and for well, we don't have to get into that. But Deepbook is basically analogous to Serum. So for those of you who are thinking, hey, that sounds like Serum, that's precisely what Deepbook is, at least, at the most surface level. Let's not get into the technical details. I know that there's differences there. And anyway, so with all that in mind, guys, now we can go over to the Deepbook chart. And again, here, I do think that there's another bull flag forming. And again, this to me makes perfect sense because I do think that all these altcoins are going to keep rallying, especially Sui, Aptos, Solana, these guys. I think they're going to keep rallying higher. And that paints a very bullish picture for Deepbook, which is again kind of like going to be the infrastructure for all of the activity on Sui. And again, I know it's technically not infrastructure, but just bear with me, guys. This is a very simple explanation. So we can do the same kind of bull flag math. So we have the flagpole bottom of around 3 cents. We have the flagpole top of around 8.5 cents, and of course that means that the flagpole length is around 5.5 cents. And then the bull, so that would and then we would basically take the flagpole length, add as the flagpole top, and we get a target of 14 cents essentially. Which, if you do the risk reward here, guys, is looking at around 2.4, which doesn't sound like much, but then you realize, whoa, like the upside here is like 60%, assuming it gets above this, 0.085 resistance. And here I have a little bit clearly, more clearly indicated, just so it makes a little bit more sense. So if we do see Deep get above the 0.085 level, then it could see a 60% gain up to 0.14, so 14 cents. But just do be aware that like it could potentially get rejected again and then like chop around potentially for a couple days, and it could fall as low as like 0.065, so 6.5 cents, and you can see it actually like wicked below a couple times when it would fall below that level. So it's possible that we could see some manipulation or something. And because again, guys, you always have to remember like what I see in the charts, what you see in the charts, other people can see it too. Thousands of other people, all these trading algorithms, robots, and whatever. So just do keep in mind, just always keep that in mind and say, I'm when I'm trading, I'm ultimately basically competing with other traders and other trading algorithms. And that's why, in my opinion, guys, only the best crypto traders, make consistent profits. And there's a very small percentage of those. And that's why, honestly, guys, like when you have something like a Deepbook, and especially when we're at the beginning of this crypto market cycle, essentially, especially for altcoins, like we're basically in the beginning stages of that like parabolic phase. It just makes way more sense, in my personal opinion, literally just to find the cryptos that you think have potential, whether it's Deepbook or whatever, and just hold it and just like ride it to the top and not try to be cheeky and like, make 60% here and then just wait for it to crack and try and make another, you know what I mean? Like it's just going to drive you crazy, and you're going to be super emotional, and you're going to lose control of your position, and you're going to lose out on all those profits. I've been there, I've done that. I'm sure a lot of you have as well. And that's why my personal strategy, guys, even though I'm really big on charts and I love watching, all this short-term price action, in my personal crypto portfolio, I'm literally just buying and holding. And with that being said, guys, if you do want to see my personal crypto portfolio as well as the cryptos that I'm considering accumulating, then you can become a member of the Coin Bureau Club. You also see the portfolios of all the other team members here at the Coin Bureau, who also showcase their watch list. Obviously, we do weekly crypto reviews of promising small cap altcoins that are voted on by our members. And we also have a members Discord, which is super active, and we have a lot of alpha being shared in there, especially actually about stuff like Sui. And I will say that I did actually update my portfolio today, and it's probably going to be my final portfolio update, at least until I start selling. So if you guys want to know what that portfolio is looking like, going into this parabolic phase, then again, just become a member using the link in the description. And with all that being said, guys, if you did make it this far, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ping that notification bell, and I'll see you in the next one.